3. Hello, everyone. This is Brandon from Brandon's Baseball Cards here. Hope you're all having a nice evening. Tonight, I am chatting with Jerald Reichstein, who has a brand new, unopened website called retrowaxpack.com. And he has very kindly agreed to join me tonight to talk about his collection and his background in the hobby. Jerald, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So why don't we just start with, kind of the basic question, a little bit about your background in the hobby and how you got into focusing on unopened.
Well, I've been collecting since I was a little kid in the early 70s and didn't have a whole lot of money. So we bought packs, opened them, traded them, glued them to our desk, whatever. Didn't really do a very good job of saving them. When I got out of college, I took what I had of that collection and laid it out at a table at a card show and kind of got started doing it that way.
That's cool. So you've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I stopped for quite a bit. I did a lot of card shows. I actually shared some tables at the National with a friend of mine, George Crock, for a few years. And, I got to the point where, I was raising a family and I was working on a lot of startups. The internet was new, and my time running several companies was just getting in the way of the hobby. So I put it to the side for probably 10 or 15 years. And kind of what got me back into it was my house flooded back in 2015, and I watched some of my stuff floating down the hall, in 2 feet of water. And I was able to save some of it, and we built our new house. I took it out, and I just started selling some of it, and I got the bug again and started doing it all over again.
Oh, wow. Well, that's very unfortunate that happened, but it seems like it really rejuvenated you realized how much the stuff meant to you, I guess.
Yeah, when I put it to the side, I really just sort of forgot about it. And then, seeing it again, putting it in, we didn't have a whole lot left after our house flooded. So that was some of the things that we were able to save. And,
Sure.
Like I said, I got the bug, and here I am just accumulating stuff all over again.
Yeah, it's a fun addiction / hobby.
Yeah,
I see some comic books in the background too. So you like vintage comics as well?
They're actually not comic books. This is there's an artist named Daniel Jacob Horine, and he makes these like reimagined comic book covers.
Oh, cool.
And he started doing baseball. He basically has limited releases. He drops one a week, and then it's gone forever. And so I've been buying them, and just part of me is wanting to buy and sell stuff, and the other part of me just wants to start collecting again.
Sure. I see Doc Ellis there. That looks pretty cool. Very, very unique art on those. That's pretty neat. So what led you to, because you do have a pretty extensive unopened collection, and of course your website, you have quite a bit of unopened material on there.
Yeah.
Well, what led you to that area of the hobby? Because it's such a niche area of the hobby compared to other areas.
My background is art and architecture. And so I'm always drawn to design, the wrappers, the boxes, especially from the 70s when I was a kid. And, the style was, kind of coming out of the 60s with a lot of groovy type stuff. And, I just started seeing the bright colors and the artwork, and of course, unopened is just, there's less and less of it every day. So that also attracted me to it. And, you open this stuff and you just have mountains of cards, and, there's just so much of that out there. And I figured this was sort of satisfying my collecting needs from a lot of different levels.
Sure. Yeah, no, well, you can't beat the artwork on some vintage sport, but also non-sport packs.
Yeah.
Just absolutely amazing. And the fact that these packs, I think it's the fact that they're survivors.
Yeah.
There's something that's alluring about that for whatever reason, this thing was supposed to be opened and it wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, that's part of the mystique of it.
I agree. And I was one of those kids opening, the first thing I remember opening was my dad brought home a box of 71 Topps Baseball Series 1. And the first thing that my brothers and I did was opened every pack, laid the cards out on the table, and we drafted, took turns picking a card. And to think about what those cards are worth today versus what those packs are worth today, it's kind of a killer.
Sure. Yeah, when I was my grandfather, the reason I got into unopened is because my grandfather had a bunch of his vintage wax packs at the entrance to his card room in Fort Myers, Florida, where I grew up. And I was always, why do you have these? And he was always kind of vague about it. He's like, I got him in a trade with some guy. I don't really know much about him. He didn't really see this is obviously 10, 15 years ago. He didn't really see the appeal in them. And so a lot of them, my brother and I opened, including a 1970 Topps pack, a 1968 Topps pack somewhere along the way, just stuff now where I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do? But yeah, I don't think anybody really saw this coming.
Yeah, I mean, if they did, they wouldn't be worth very much. If everybody saved unopened packs,
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
true.
toys new in the box. But I mean, kids that resisted opening them, I mean, there must be something wrong with them.
Well, yeah, and there's someone I talked to actually on the channel, and they started saving for many, many years. And I was like, wow, the foresight that you had is just incredible. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's the most interesting part of the hobby, but it's also the most misunderstood part of the hobby.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think so.
yeah. So what are some of you're obviously a big time collector, not just of unopened, but of cards too. What are some, you showed me something before we started recording that,
Yeah.
what are some heavy hitters in your collection?
So the
Are there some
story
items
behind,
sure.
yeah, the story behind that card is that my dad was born in 1923.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was a kid, there was this small wooden cheese crate up in the closet. And I climbed up one day and looked at it, and it was filled with 1933 Gaudy baseball cards. So these were his cards from when he was a kid. And I don't know if he actually bought them in the penny packs or if they were given to him by a friend, but he had about half of the 33 Gaudy set. He had all the Ruths in there. And over the years when I was selling baseball cards, I think I traded away one of the Ruths because it was severely creased. But I have, about, having sold some of the poor condition cards, I had about 60 or 70 of them left. And now I'm in the process of trying to rebuild that set over time, which is very expensive. It's going to take quite a while. You get a freshly graded PSA 4 common, and it's going to cost $80 to $100. So it's going to be quite an endeavor for me. But this is one of them.
Oh, sorry. I think the screen. Oh, there we go. The screen froze. My goodness.
So this, and what I find really appealing about all of this is that it really is these are the only family heirlooms I have.
Wow.
So they're definitely not for sale. I hope my kids appreciate them when I'm dead.
Are your kids collectors?
No, they're not.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah. Mine are still young enough where I'm trying to gently encourage without being forceful, but I'm like, please, at least one of you. But it seems like it skips generations sometimes. Well, that's amazing. And that's a VG3. Ruth, would you mind showing that again? That's such a beautiful card.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is just incredible.
And what's really neat is that, this thing that I showed you is the called shot with, it's got Charlie Root, the pitcher, Babe Ruth, the hitter. And
that's so cool.
There's the two cards.
Oh, wow. I've never seen that. What's the name of the pitcher? Charlie Ruth, you said?
Root,
Oh,
R-O-T.
oh, wow. Beautiful card. Yeah, I do you like 33 Gaudy or 34 Gaudy more?
Well, I had a few of the 34s. The 33 I like more, I think, because it just seems to be a cleaner card.
Sure.
And I think that banner at the bottom, the Lou Gehrig says, I think is what it, let me see, I've got one. So the cards have like this at the bottom of each one, and
Sure,
I mean it's nice, but it's on half the cards, I think. But
sure. Yeah, and
they
then the
seem
other,
to be worth more.
yeah, oh, definitely. And the other is Chuck Klein is on 34
Yes,
also, isn't it? Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah, to me, I love both of those, but I think I'm actually a sucker. I don't know if you are too, for the Diamond Stars.
I was thinking about starting to pick those up, but I've got a big task ahead of me with the Gavis first.
Sure, yes, you do. Yeah. Because to me, and the Diamond Stars, I know they get criticized because they don't have the Gehrig or the Ruth, they don't have the heavy hitters, but some of the artwork, especially there's some, just a great shot of the umpire, I think is such an underappreciated. Seeing the
Yeah,
umpire in a card
yeah.
is kind of, I don't know why that's so cool to me. Um, but the diamonds, yeah, but that's, yeah, focus on the 33s. It sounds like you're on the right.
Yeah.
So how many more do you need for the 33 set?
I've got about, I think I've got close to 110 of these, so I'm not even halfway there.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
Are you
I may never get there.
sure, sure. Yeah. Are you going to the national?
No, no, I'm not.
No. Have you been in the past?
Yeah, I have, and I'm in Houston, so the big TriStar show is here. I've
Oh, cool.
exhibited there, and I've been there a lot, and uh, I don't find myself really wanting to go to shows that much because I don't know a whole lot about modern cars. I don't really want to,
Hmm.
and I feel like that's what the room's going to be filled with.
Yeah. I mean, it does seem like more and more, 80% of the tables are just, it's just modern basketball
Yeah,
and stuff where it's just, and it's something I've discussed with other people that I've had on the channel. It's manufactured scarcity
yeah,
versus actual scarcity. I
yeah.
It's completely unappealing to me as well.
And,
So
and
I
I
totally
and I
understand. I think.
I remember when I was setting up the tables, back in it
Mhm.
started in the 80s and it went to the early 2000s, but the in-demand scarce insert chase card thing this year dies next year when the next one comes out. And so it's a race to sell it. I don't know if that's still the case with
Mm,
some of this stuff, but it's just not that appealing to me.
sure. Yeah, no, I think and it's a market. It's obviously incredibly flimsy as well from an investment standpoint. I think it's just, you
Yeah,
can't go wrong with Ruth. You can't go wrong with Gehrig. You can't go wrong with Mantle.
right.
There may be some ebbs and flows over time, but generally speaking, I think it's even better than the stock market. Would you agree with that?
Um, I would say it's really hard to say on that.
Sure. This
In
is
the
not investment
long,
advice for anybody either. It's not an
yeah,
investment advice.
I've been watching this stuff for a long time,
Sure.
and I think that you can lose all your money or get rich just as fast in either one of those.
Sure. Sure. Did you so when you were growing up, did you have a favorite player that you watched?
Nolan Ryan for sure.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
That's
I
cool.
mean other players as well. Clemente was a favorite. Willie Mays, Hank Aaron.
Hmm.
One of the things we used to collect, I don't know if you've seen them, but the old 7-Eleven icy cups, Slurpee
Sure.
cups.
Hmm.
And so my brothers and I we had stacks and stacks of those things.
That's cool.
And Ryan was the tough one to get.
Hmm. That's cool. Yeah, he was I caught him on the tail end of his career when I really started following baseball.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
I've lived in Texas my whole
but he
life,
was my
so
he was my guy when I was.
yeah.
Sure.
And when
So
I was
yeah,
selling cards, I would specialize in Ryan stuff because there was just so much demand for it here.
mhm.
I'd buy cards from my dealer friends all over the country in bulk, Nolan Ryan cards, Nolan Ryan whatever, and set up cases full of it here and sell them at wholesale. So that's how easy it was to sell Nolan Ryan stuff, and there was no one that came close to that.
Sure. Well, I mean, his market in unopened, rack packs with him showing, cello packs with him showing are just he has a
Yeah,
very, very strong market.
yeah,
And I think it's some of the stuff is ridiculous. I mean, some of the pricing, I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. Um, do you focus on Nolan in your unopened collecting, or do you have a
no,
player you focus on, or
no, I really don't. Years ago, I loved going to the store and trying to find racks and cellos with my favorite players on them, but I don't focus on it so much right now. Occasionally I'll
sure?
find something,
Hmm.
but uh, there's just so much competition for it. And I really don't
Yes.
know, I don't know how to price any of the racks and cellos with stars showing. Even wax packs with stars showing. It's just a guess. And I
Hmm.
don't know if there's a rule of thumb, or there's probably people that are better at it than I am.
I think it's a common issue, and it seems, especially with, if there's so much randomness to it. The day of the auction, people use eBay sold listings or Robert Edward
Yeah.
auction listings. It's like, I've seen within a month and a half of each other, I saw a 79 tops George Brett rack pack go for $230, and then 300 and some dollars a month later. The
Yeah.
same pack,
Yeah.
just different. To me, it's what is someone willing to pay? But that's a not really a good standard to have, because all it takes
Yeah.
is one or two people that don't know the market to affect the market.
Right. Right. I think the way I look at this stuff is that
Sure.
I really gravitate towards this unopened from the 70s.
Sure.
It's pretty pricey now, and it's probably just
Hmm.
going to get more expensive. Um,
Hmm.
but there's not really anything that I'm so in love with that I wouldn't flip it to take that money to buy something else. So what's exciting to me is that the collection keeps changing, and that I own something for a while and enjoy it, and then I go sell it, hopefully for a profit, take all of that money, go buy the next thing.
Sure. I actually have a very similar approach. I go through phases with the collection.
Yeah,
And if you get tired of stuff, I don't see any, especially if you can make a little money and put it back into the hobby.
yeah,
To me, I mean, the fun is when you get the item,
yeah,
and you get it for a little while, you get to see it, take a picture, where it fits with other stuff, and then, if the time comes to move it,
yeah,
it's just, I'm glad to hear you say that, because I hear people say sometimes, this is my forever PC. And I'm like,
yeah.
unless it's the Ruth card, like your family card or something like that, I'm like, maybe that's
Yeah.
just not my bag.
So the Gaudis from my dad are like that, but I mean,
Sure.
I wouldn't want to treat my collection like a tattoo where I have to live with it forever. You
Yes,
know,
that's a sure.
I just like seeing it change.
Sure. Yes.
And if you own something and you can get a good price on the same thing, why pass it up? Because you already have one. So I'll buy the second one and then I'll put it up for sale.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, I absolutely agree with that mindset. And especially if you're like, you're working towards your 33 Gaudi set, if you have a big goal in mind where you can, you know, you need the funds to do so, that, it's a good way to
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
So, do you have any other items you want to show? I know you showed me a few.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing. So my background is professionally, I graduated college with an architecture degree, and I had a firm that did architecture and digital design work for a couple of decades. And then the current company that I have is doing all of that. I've had this firm, Bouncing Pixel, for about 14 years, and so my career has pretty much allowed me to design things for other people. And in 1995, I was approached by a consultant for Topps to help make the Dimension 3
Oh,
cards.
cool.
So the way that this worked was that when you use a telephoto lens to shoot a baseball game, you don't get the separation due stereoscopic viewing. Like your eyes are set a certain distance apart, your right eye and your left eye see differently. So they had these telephoto pictures and they needed artists to deconstruct them and turn them into multiple views and then put them back together under this lenticular film that you've probably seen with the Kellogg's cards. So this
Sure.
was like my first connection to the collectibles industry as a service provider instead of a collector.
Wow.
If I remember correctly, I made the Yvonne Rodriguez card.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
did 3 of these. They took about a week each to do, but that was a fun little project a long
That's
time
really
ago.
cool.
This is kind of my display, some of my unopened.
Oh, that's cool. Is that a 78? Is that is that a 79 grocery tray
That's a
case?
79 rack steel case, which I
Wow.
actually bought through this group. There was 5. Somebody was selling 5 of them, and I think other members bought some of these.
Wow. So sealed wax or
Sealed.
racks of 79 Topps football.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. That is awesome. Was that
Yeah,
a recent buy? I think I saw that recently come up.
I think that was about 2 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, somebody
wow.
got their store broken into, and he's like, "I'm done. I'm selling these 5."
Oh, wow. I see a World Series box, a Fleer World Series box. Does that have packs in it?
It did. You see,
Oh,
it had packs in it,
that's cool.
and I sent a bunch of them off to get graded. So I've got those in my collection. Let me see if I can find one.
Oh, there we go.
Here's a raw pack that I still have.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, the artwork on some of these vintage Fleer packs is just killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that's 1970, right?
That's the 70, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and here's a few more of those cards from my dad's collection. So here's another.
Oh,
Ruth.
cool. Oh, man. Oh, wow. Oh,
But my favorite one is this Sport King.
oh, yeah, that's a beauty.
And
Wow.
there's a Gehrig here from the set.
Oh, that's cool. My favorite is the Ruth where it's kind of far away and he's swinging. I don't know why.
This
Yeah,
one?
that's always been my favorite. Yeah, that is such
I
a beautiful.
remember a time where that was the most valuable one, and now I think it's the least valuable one.
Interesting. Yeah, now the most valuable is probably the one where he's close up and he's kind of leaning over.
It's the yellow one, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, where he's swinging. That makes sense.
And the one I don't have is the red one.
It's funny how the market works like that. Yeah, it's artistic. I mean, they're all gorgeous. I mean, that is the Gehrig is really, really nice too. A friend of mine recently picked up one. But it's a beater. It's raw, but it's still a Gehrig.
Yeah.
So do you have a set? You mentioned that you focus on the 70s for a lot of your unopened. Do you have a favorite design from that time period or from the a little more modern stuff?
I'd say the 72 is probably my favorite. As a kid, I hated it. And I was really into 71 with the black borders because I remember opening those packs. But now that I, studied design, I've been doing it for a long time, and I have all these, decades to reflect on what's come and gone. The 72 is really, it really hits home for me. I know a lot of people like the 75. That one is just okay to me. I'm probably offending some people saying that.
Oh, well, I used to not like the 75s. When I was younger, I thought they were the ugliest, like the brown and orange together on some of them. I was just, what was Topps doing? And now I think some some of the colors in that set have grown on me, but it's still not my favorite. So I'll offend other people with you. Sorry, Mike, if you watch this and others who love 75. I think mine is probably 77 and 78 are probably my two favorites from that. The 77 was the first set I put together as a teenager. So that one's kind of a sentimental for me. But 72 is very nice, I think. And the 72 Ryan card is in my top 3 or 4 favorite Ryan cards. Do you what's your favorite Ryan card other than if you had to pick one, or if you had to
it's okay to say the rookie?
Sure, that's fine. That's fine. Sure. That's fine. Because when I was growing up, I always loved the 1980 tops. Something about that card and the image on it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know that when I was selling them, that one was really, really popular and not as easy to find. I could find 79s easier than 80s.
Oh, okay. I wonder if it's a shorter print, or does 80 tops?
I don't know, but I really like all the leader cards he's on. I would say that after the rookie, I like the 73 leader.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the 79 leaders, also nice. But anyway, that's just
I like the 79. Yeah, that's the Richard Ryan.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's a very nice card. And then I do like the 77 Seaver Ryan. You can't get better for a leader's card than that. I mean, the two best pitchers of the 70s, maybe. Now I'm offending someone else who is a Carlton fan, but
or those J.R. Richards fans in Houston.
That's true. That's very true. I mean, man, talk about a career that what could have been.
Yeah.
I mean, such a tragic story. And then I think he ended up homeless at one point.
Yeah.
After being a major league,
right? Didn't he have a stroke?
Yeah, he had a stroke on the field before a game.
Yeah.
And then I think he attempted a comeback, and it just wasn't. He just wasn't successful. But I mean, he was lights out, and he and Ryan on the same team. That's crazy to me.
We still couldn't win.
Well, I mean, and Mike Scott too, right? I mean, Mike Scott was
Mike Scott and his nail file.
Yeah. I had Rob from the group on the channel, and he's met he's obviously a Mike Scott super collector, and Mike Scott I think he said that he told him he didn't do anything to the ball. So he's like, I'll be honest with you, I didn't do anything. I think that's what he said. I don't know. I don't think he confessed to doing anything, but based on videos I've seen, it was obvious. We're offending everybody tonight, but it looked like he was doing something to the ball. And the New York Mets in the '86 series sure as heck thought he was doing something to the ball.
Yeah.
No, but well, thank you so much, Jerald, for coming on. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about regarding your new website, or
it's a new site. As I mentioned in the group, it was done through Shopify. So my company builds very complex websites, and I design them for a living. So this is like a quick and dirty exercise to just get my stuff listed someplace, trying to wean customers off of eBay. Sometimes when I list things in the group, I feel kind of chained to my phone or my desk, just waiting for people to say, hey, I want it, and then I have to be there for them. So it's not the most fun way to spend my evening. So I thought, let me just build a website, get people over there eventually, and make life a little simpler.
Sure. Well, I will say, as someone who's perused the site, if you're all looking for a place to go to maybe pick up a few vintage packs, it's a very accessible site. The prices are very fair, and you have some cool stuff. You have some cool stuff on there.
Thank you very much.
So those I was eyeing some of those 68 Fleer iron-on packs, so I might have to be in touch with you about a few of those. Well, Jerald, thanks again for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Okay, well, that'll do it for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed that. Until next time, take care of each other and keep collecting vintage unopened baseball, everybody.